In this video I'm going to demonstrate how to make a flip down stack card. When you see the card closed, you have your stack folded up, one image showing on the front. When you open the fastening and flip it down, you've got your three images hidden on the inside. The most important thing obviously is the stack itself, so in this example I used a very plain base. In fact, I just used a piece of craft card cut down to 8 inches wide by 9 1/4 high, which will fit an American business size envelope. I scored it at 4 inches down the centre and embossed it with the Stampin' Up! Elegant Lines embossing folder, and that's my base. To make the actual stack, you're going to need 5 squares for the main construction. This is the Spellbinders scallop nestabilities, and I used the ones finished size is 2 1/4 inches. So 5 of those. Then you need 4 panels for your image. Mine, because I'm matting them onto black, they're quite small, they're only 1 1/2 inches in the craft, so 4 of those. And then for matting, 4 squares of black, those are 1 3/4. You're also going to need some ribbon, some double-sided tape, and in this example I used a brad and a photo turn to hold the stack closed. You can also use a magnetic snap from Basic Grey or anywhere else where you can find them. And I used stamps, just old foam stamps with letters, and I used double-sided adhesive cut into a heart shape and burnished with glitter. But generally I must say I stamp things. It was just this was a design for an anniversary card for my husband, so I went with what worked. So to actually create the stack, you need to take 3 of your squares. You need to put double-sided tape on the back so that it runs in a straight line from the top to the bottom. When you're arranging them, you need to leave a small gap between the centre stack and the bottom, and then a slightly larger one between the centre and the top, because as you fold it upwards, the bottom one is only folding one depth. The second one, when you're folding it up, it's folding 2 layers and it's thicker, so you really need to allow a little bit more space. I usually use a thin ribbon like organza. If you use anything thicker, you need to allow for that, but also you need to remember that it might make it harder to have your layers look nice because it will stick up. So really I think a fine ribbon is the best. The width doesn't really matter, it can be wide like this one, it can be a little narrow one. The only thing that matters is to keep it even and to trim it off so it doesn't show at either end. So you do both sides the same, keeping it even. Looks about right. Okay, it doesn't look quite right because it should be, it's not going to hang evenly. We need to tighten this one up a bit. Yeah, that's going to hang a bit better, so then done there. Your next step then is to take a piece of card one of the remaining squares and stick it over the bottom, like that. Line it up nicely, press it down well. The next stage then is to make the tab which holds the card closed. It needs to have a bit of strength in it, so I usually use double thickness card. Just round it off. With a corner punch. This one is 5/8 of an inch wide. The width doesn't matter too much. Again, if you're using one of the magnetic snaps, it needs to be wide enough to cover that. So 2 layers of card stuck together for strength. And then you just fasten them on the centre flap, sticking over the bottom. It needs to stick out maybe 1/2 inch or so. It's got to be enough to hold the photo turn or to fit the snap underneath it. And we'll turn it over. If you are using a snap, it goes on this side here, and then as you fold it up, it will snap to the top of the card. Because I'm not using a snap, I'm using a photo turn. We go back to where we were, and we take the last red square and we stick it over the centre. The top one we don't stick anything on the back of, it just stays plain, goes onto the card base. Now this is going to be the panel that shows on the front of the card when it's closed. So we need to stick our image onto it, but I find it easiest to turn the card over and fold it up, because otherwise you run the risk of sticking your image on upside down, and if that matters, that's a problem. We stick our heart on for the front. And you'll see then, if we'd done it this way, you have to remember to do it upside down. So I just did it, folding it up and doing it from the front. Then you can see how the card will look when you open the stack. So you just need to add your remaining image panels. Again, because this was an anniversary card, it has a romantic little message of "I love you" with the glittery red heart. And that's the stack finished, which means that's most of your work done. The only thing left then is to actually attach it to the base. So open stack, closed stack. When you're laying it on the base to see where to stick it, remember to have enough room at the top of the card for the tab. You obviously don't want that sticking up over it, and you want to get it nicely centred. So I would say that that looks about right. This is the only piece now that's still just got ribbon showing, so take your adhesive of choice and stick that into position, centered and not too high. And then if you're using a magnetic snap, you'd attach the second element of it behind the tab at the top. In this example I didn't use a snap, I used a photo turn, so we need to position that and add the brad to hold it. And that's the card finished. You open it, and if I lift it up properly it won't show in the video, so I'll just keep it flat to flip it down. But it falls down nicely if you're holding it upright when you flip it. Here are a couple of examples that I've done with the magnetic snap. This one is a fancier base. It was stamped, sponged, and the image panels are stamped, and magnetic snap just flips down and closes up. And then this one is another plain base. The butterfly will get flattened when the stack's opened, so there's not much point raising it. Again, this is a magnetic snap. Butterfly hiding on the inside. And if you want to add something to this panel, another image, you can, but there's not a lot of point because it really only just shows for the brief couple of seconds that it's flipping down. So thank you for watching my first video tutorial. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you'll enjoy making your own flip down stack cards.